There's a war going on outside no man is safe from. But what about the internal war that we don't talk about? What about battle you? Listen, in the last, 48 hours, I was up for 30 of those straight, and I've had about maybe 6 hours of sleep. And so my internal battle right now is raging in my head, and there's all sorts of things going on right now. And the thing that we never talk about is, what do you do with the battle within inside of yourself? But more importantly, what do we do with the conversations that we have with ourselves? See, the conversation that you have with yourself is the most intimate, prevalent, and frequent conversation that you'll ever have. No matter how much you talk to your friends daily, your parents, your spouse, co-workers, whatever the case might be, you talk to you more than anyone else. So the question is, what are you saying to yourself? What are you listening to? What are you believing from yourself on a day in and day basis? But most of all, how do you check yourself? How do you determine that if the things that you are saying to yourself or the things that you're listening to from yourself are actually valid, if they hold weight, if they're accurate, or if you're just having a Drake moment in your feelings? So my question to you today on Ferocious Friday is, what are you doing to check you? So let's get into it. I want to share with you 2 things that you need to do to check you. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's dig deep into this. So the first thing that you want to ask yourself, because there's really just 2 important questions that you need to ask anytime you're wanting to check yourself. The first thing that you need to ask yourself, is it truth or is it trash? See, if it's truth, well, then you can do what's called correct yourself, which we're going to talk about next week, how to determine when it's time to correct yourself after you've already checked yourself. But if it's trash, then you got to treat it like trash and learn how to throw it out. You have to learn the ability to take the thoughts, the conversations, the things that you're telling yourself, and learn when it's time to simply dump them. Because sometimes we hold on to things, we hold on to conversations, we hold on to things that we've told ourselves since we were maybe even children for way too long. And eventually it starts to stink. And that stink starts to come through in our attitude, in the way that we treat people in situations or when we're under pressure. It starts to come through in the way that we just get paralyzed and don't take action. It starts to come through in the way that we doubt ourselves or lack confidence when it comes to overcoming obstacles. See, your trash that you collect regarding your thoughts will start to come out in your every day-to-day activity. No matter how much you think that you've put it in a Glad lock bag or zipped it up or held it inside, eventually that trash starts to stink. So you got to ask yourself, and what am I telling myself right now? Is this truth? Which sometimes truth hurts. Sometimes I realize that I'm a procrastinator. Sometimes I realize that I don't necessarily attack things with my whole self because maybe, I'm holding on to doubt about if I can accomplish it or not. I've learned certain truths about myself that I work daily on correcting, and that's why we strive to conquer change every day. But I also recognize when I'm talking trash and when I just need to throw it out, when I just need to stop holding on to certain things or certain beliefs, because at the end of the day, I realize that, that is trash. It's garbage. So why would I keep that in my life? The next important question that you want to ask yourself is it closing or is it costing? Here's what I mean. Listen, every day we're on this journey, right? And this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So that means that it's going to take us time to get there. So when you're talking to yourself, you have to ask yourself, and what am I saying? And these things that I'm telling myself, is it closing that gap between my goal and my vision of myself? Or is it costing me? Is it costing me time? Is it costing me opportunities? Is it costing me relationships? Is it costing me the best version of myself possible? Is it costing me my dreams and my goals? See, a lot of times we put ourselves in situations where we will talk to ourselves out of a situation. We talk ourselves out of a goal. We talk ourselves out of opportunities. We talk ourselves out of our gifts because we have our own self-doubts. So you have to ask yourself, is this closing the gap? Or is it costing me something? And then you have to evaluate the cost. I learned this great terminology a long time ago, and I use it just about in everything, and that is opportunity cost. You have to ask yourself, for every opportunity, what is it going to cost you? A lot of times opportunities don't cost monetary things. A lot of times opportunities cost your stick-to-itiveness. They cost your determination. They cost your focus. They cost you to prioritize your time. They cost you to actually believe and move forward even when you're uncertain. So you have to ask yourself, am I closing the gap on what I said I wanted? Or am I simply just costing myself more time that I really don't have? So this Ferocious Friday, it's time. It's time for me, it's time for you, it's time for all of us to check ourselves. Give yourself a checkup from the neck up. That means get your mind right before you do anything else. Because when you check yourself from the neck up, that means before you move your body, you're giving yourself the right conversation in your mind. You're setting yourself up for success. You know that what I'm talking and what you're talking to yourself, first off, you know that it's truth, not trash. And secondly, you know that it's bringing you closer and not costing you everything that you're working so hard for. So this Ferocious Friday, I want you to continue to get after it. I want you to continue to conquer change. I want you to continue to walk this journey and realize this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. So take your time with yourself, but more importantly, continue to stay after it. Continue to stay focused. Continue to stay ferocious. So let's get after it. Let's go. Thank you for watching Ferocious Friday. There's 3 things that we ask of you. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.